What a day. Congratulations. Oh my, I
Oh,
mean, the
thank you.
wins, the nominees, all this. It's so great. I feel very privileged to keep to find you sandwiched in this amazing kind of recognition for this stunning film. So congratulations, Sean.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
What was the do you mind if we just talk about the kind of seed of the idea really and what kind of sparked this fantastic character and this story really in you?
It's hard to say when an idea begins,
Yeah.
because sometimes it can be percolating for years and years. And in this case, I actually thought I always knew that I would be telling a story in the Russian American community of Brighton Beach and Coney Island. I just didn't know what that was, and it really just took years to figure it out. After I made a film called Red Rocket, having researched the world of sex work, I think that's when it was figured. That's when the plot was figured out, and focusing on this idea of a young woman who realizes a little too late that she married the wrong man.
Um, Mikey is astounding in this film. I mean the range that we get from this character with her performances is pretty amazing. How did you work with her on this in terms of, finding those kind of quiet moments, but then also finding this kind of rage and, and everything in between that really,
Yeah.
because it feels so authentic to her and the character and her performance really, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. I basically Mikey came to my attention through her two bombastic performances that I saw in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Scream.
Yeah.
I knew she could be big. I knew she was already could be, that so intense. But speaking and so she knew that she had to deliver that going into my movie, but it was also, yeah, it was about understanding that it wouldn't just work like that. We had to have the quieter moments. We had to eventually see her, internal struggle come out and her emotion. And it's just that Mikey is incredibly talented and understood that along with me. So it was really just about preparation and time. I was able to write the screenplay with her in mind because, well, I
Wow.
pitched her the idea and I said, the role is yours if you'd like it. She accepted it. And then that's when I went and actually wrote the words. So with her, I was able to picture her as I was writing this and keeping her informed along the way. So she was very much like kind of she was precast and therefore she was connected to the project over a year out from
Yeah.
making it.
One of the many things that I love about your films and the worlds that you take us into as film fans is that immersive experience, is that ability that you have to kind of drop us in that world and we feel like we're there through the way you shoot, the way you edit, the way that the kind of atmosphere that you create. With Anora, in terms of how much freedom were you kind of providing within those kind of, scenes to kind of follow the action and follow what was going on, as opposed to things being, kind of choreographed to the point where you know exactly where
Yeah.
things are going to happen.
100% freedom because we make our
Amazing.
films yeah, we make our films independently, so we ensure that going in. And I work with my wife Samantha Kwan as a producer as well, and our other producer Alex Coco. So it's the three of us, and we
Yeah.
we really we go in saying we're going to have 90% control, but 10% is left up to serendipity and happenstance and all the happy accidents that come along with just letting life actually happen.
Hmm.
Um, that means sometimes shooting on location, combining your lead actors with locals and non-professionals on the streets and seeing what
Mm.
happens. So yeah, it's allowing life to happen, and I think that's what keeps us that's what helps with the authenticity and,
Mm.
and really bringing the reality to the screen.
Um, I've got to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting to take that. I was not.
We weren't either.
Were you
We
not?
weren't either. No, no, we weren't because we actually, Corey, we always knew there was going to be a pop song
Yeah.
because, the beginning, the first approximately hour of the movie is its own movie. It's almost
Mm.
like an abridged Hollywood romantic comedy. So we knew it had to be bookended with some sort of big pop song that you would see in one of those movies or hear in one of those movies. And we choreographed it to another song entirely. It just when we found out that it in post production that it didn't really work for us and it wasn't it wasn't nailing the vibe we wanted.
Yeah.
We started seeking another song, and I remember driving around one day with my wife Samantha, and I said, "There has to be a song out there about a greatest day. Isn't there a song just called Greatest Day?" And she got on Spotify and she said, "Yes, there is actually." And we played it. And to tell you the truth, in America, we knew Take That, but that song wasn't exactly, it didn't hit the top 20 or something. So it wasn't a big hit in the US. We
Yeah.
found out afterwards it was a big hit everywhere else. But when hearing it for the first time, it was an earworm. We loved it. And we got home and we threw it on the opening credits. It all sunk up. It was like serendipity. The chorus hit just as it went up to Mikey's face. And it was like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
So I have to thank Take That for allowing us to use this wonderful song that we're now in love with.
It just works on a, and it really works tonally as well, I think, as well, in terms of um in terms of, I guess, that kind of preconception of the kind of the sounds or the music that's played in clubs and things like that sort of thing. It kind of cuts against that slightly, but creates a really perfect tone for her, really, I think, in a way, if that's fair.
Yeah, I think so, especially with that first section of the film.
Mm.
That's hopeful, that's extremely positive, optimistic, and that song it's celebratory. And I
Mm.
think that that song, especially that there's that one moment where we're in the marital bliss section, as we like to call it, and
Yeah.
we just have that helicopter shot that pulls out from the mansion as the two of them are embracing on the balcony, and the song crescendos there. Yeah, I we love it.
Yeah.
It was meant to be.
How does it work with music with you, in terms of when you're writing, do you have music around? Is music inspiring for you in a way? And and you've worked with a number of composers as well over the years. We've been lucky enough to have Lauren on the show as well,
Oh, yeah.
kind of back for the project and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wondered where, with the collaboration and working with people, where music sits with you.
It's a big deal for
Mm.
me. Lauren helped us with a wonderful classical rendition of Celebration that wrapped up the Florida project. But
Mm.
for the most part, I don't work with composers. I love, film scores, but with
Hmm.
my films that lean more towards social realism, I've had less of that in my movies, and instead I've relied on needle drops. And those needle drops are very important to me. I just told you the story about Take That.
Yeah.
That's what happened in post-production. But a lot of the other tracks actually were even scripted. Like we knew the Tattoo song was going to be in the film. We knew the DMX song was going to be in the film. And these are songs that I just think, they're so iconic that audiences will immediately be pumped up when they hear it, or there's
Yeah.
songs that I think probably we haven't heard for a while, or that have fallen out of fashion or whatever, and I'm trying to bring them back in a big way.
It's interesting because there is that kind of thing where, and is that because when you're writing them into the script, it's a weird question, but how do they end up in the script? Is it because you associate them with, I don't know, an emotion, or is it a lyric thing, or what is it, or is it just a personal choice of yours?
It depends.
Hmm.
With DMX, I knew it was going to be the fight scene, so I could
Yeah.
already hear the beats, know how I was going to try to cut the scene, and it helped me even figure out how I wanted to shoot the scene. Having that song already, in my head. Something like Tattoo. Well, Tattoo we knew was going to eventually somewhere get into the movie just because it was the only crossover hit that actually ever had. The only pop song that's ever been a crossover hit between the US and Russia. So
Oh,
that just
wow.
yeah, basically unless somebody can tell me I'm wrong, I think that's the only one, at least contemporary. So yeah, no, sometimes these songs just hit me and they help me with I sometimes make playlists so I
Mhm.
can listen to the songs as I'm writing and it really puts me in the right mood. Yeah,
And you need a
yeah.
good music supervisor to help you get those songs cleared as well.
Matthew Heron Smith, he was amazing. And he's been with me for many films now. He got Celebration for me for Florida Project. He got Bye 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 for me for Red Rocket. So he's been wonderful. He's
Wow.
been
Um, you must be thrilled with the response the film's had, going back to May this year with Cannes. I mean, phenomenal success it's had, and I watched it again in preparation for today, and
so nice. Thank you.
no, it's a joy. It's a joy to watch again, and just that fight, even just for the fight scene, is just so great. But did you ever? I mean, can you? What did you want? What kind of connection did you want the film to have? In terms of you're making it for you, you're making it as a creative outlet for you to tell a story, to introduce us to a character, to a world. But do you have any idea of what you hoped it would, how it would connect?
Yeah, there are how it would connect exactly. Well, I'm in love with my ensemble casts, right? And in this one, I have a really incredible ensemble cast. And I was really hoping that the audience would really latch on to this motley crew and be like, I want to be with this motley crew. I
Hmm.
want to be with this motley crew for the ride, for the adventure. And so there's that. There's that number one. But then there's also, the look at Annie and her plight and what she's going through. And as a sex worker, the disrespect that she receives from literally everyone in the
Everyone.
film, except for
Yeah.
maybe one character, the eager character, Yura Borisov. But I think that I don't want to preach with my movies, but I do want to get across certain ideas. And in this case, really tackle the unfair stigma that's
Yeah.
applied to sex work. I think that's very important.
Did you talk with Mikey about a backstory as such, in terms of,
Yeah.
where was she up until this point? We get little bits, but there's also an element of, is that her idea of what her life was, who those people were in her life, or, it's kind of, yeah,
Yeah, 100%. We had a lot of discussion about that and where she is in her life. We aren't, this is, I lean towards social realism, even this is maybe poppy social realism, but still it's social realism. And therefore there won't be any narration. We won't hear inner thoughts. I don't even use music as we were just talking about
yeah,
to manipulate emotion. It's more about just, setting a time and place and having fun with it. So we're not really um, I think that that's where we're not telling the audience a backstory. They have to sort of fill those things in. But we
yeah,
do see that she's the breadwinner. We do see that she's independent. She's street smart. She's a scrapper, meaning she's able to hold her own in a fight if she gets into one. But she's also young. She's also young, and perhaps, unfortunately, a little naive. That's something that comes with youth. And I think that for us, it was about, this young woman who is offered this opportunity. And of course, she's taking it seriously and
yeah,
she's seeing a future
yeah.
in what's offered to her. And it's
Uh,
something that I think that the audience is with her, and I think that that's and and rooting for her, and yet at
mhm.
the same time very, and they're looking out for her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love as well how you you've left it up to the audience to have their own sort of, reaction to the ending of the film rather than
Hmm.
kind of dissect it and tell them what you guys were intending with it. I really love that ambiguity that you've gone, no, it's yours, you make of it what you will sort of thing. I love that. It's such a because almost every time you're watching it again, it's kind of like, oh, do I think the same as I did the first time? It's kind of, I love that about it. It's
Well, thank
great.
you. It's
Yeah.
definitely set up for multiple
More?
viewings, or at least a
Yeah.
second viewing.
Yeah.
We did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll go once you know how the film plays out. I think going into it a second time, it's almost an entirely different movie. But also, yeah, I appreciate what you just said because
Mm.
endings for me, you should allow the audience to do a certain amount of their own writing of an ending because it's life doesn't just end with happily ever after or not happily ever after.
Mm.
Life just continues to go on and and so I don't want to have a definitive end. I want the audience to be like, okay, well, this possibly could happen or this possibly could happen. And let's discuss this on the sidewalk outside the movie theater after the movie ends. I think
Yes.
that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Films that encourage conversation. It's like it's a gift. Listen, I really, really appreciate you jumping on so last minute to chat to me today.
No
If
problem.
it's been
It's a
so
pleasure.
great, and just really lovely as well to kind of celebrate your work. And next time we can dive into a bit more chat on Tangerine and Red Rocket, Florida Project, all that stuff a bit more as well, because I'm such a fan and I look forward to what's next.
Be a pleasure. I look forward to that. Thank you
Thanks
very
so
much.
much. Thank you so much, Sean. Take care.